A community petition seeks to recall a local board member in DeForest. We take a look at the board meeting that could lead to a special election.
Guilty or not guilty, I'm Ellie LaLiberte with the latest from the court appearance of the couple accused in a poison plot.
And how the Madison School District is investing in a new position to help students at risk of drug and alcohol abuse.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. First at 5, the DeForest Village Board will address a community petition attempting to recall one of its own trustees.
That petition receiving more than 1,500 signatures from residents who want to remove Bill Landgraf from the board. Our Maddie Heimsch is at the DeForest Village Hall ahead of this meeting. Maddie, what led to all this?
Yeah, what led to the meeting was this community petition that received almost 1,500 signatures. Now, in the village of DeForest, only less than 1,400 would be needed to signal a special election. Now, the leaders of the petition are asking to recall trustee Bill Landgraf. They claim he's been inappropriate and harassed residents. Now, Landgraf himself actually challenged the petition, which did reach the required amount of signatures, but he asked the village clerk to take off at least 200 of them. At least 200 of those signatures, citing illegible handwriting and not writing dates on the right forms. However, the village clerk only found 12 signatures to take off, so they still have enough to trigger that special election. So tonight at the meeting, they'll ask to certify that officially. Again, that village board meeting is at 6, and we'll bring you the latest on News 3 Now at 6 and tonight on News 3 Now at 10. Reporting live in DeForest, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
All right, Maddie, thank you. Well, a 24-year-old man has been arrested after allegedly stealing from stores in Westtown Mall early this morning around 2. Madison police say they were called to the mall after mall security said they found broken glass by his store. When police got there, they found multiple stores by the main entrance had broken glass and later found a man exiting stores with merchandise in duffel bags. The man now faces several charges, including burglary, damage to property, and attempted burglary.
A 44-year-old Lodi resident is in custody after police say they were involved in a hit and run. A 65-year-old Lodi woman was hit yesterday morning around 6:30 at Valley and Sunrise Drives, just south of the middle school. When police arrived, the woman was lying on the ground and did not remember what happened. After looking at ring camera footage, the 44-year-old person was arrested on a charge of hit and run, causing injury to a pedestrian.
2 people accused of poisoning women in Rock and Dane counties were back in court once again today.
Paul Van Dyne and Andrea Whitaker are facing charges in both counties and entered pleas today. Our Ellie LaLiberte was there and joins us now live from the Dane County Courthouse with what happened. Ellie?
Both Paul Van Dyne and Andrea Whitaker pleaded not guilty to all Dane County charges today. According to court documents, Whitaker and Van Dyne allegedly stalked and tried multiple times to kill 2 women Van Dyne had previously been on dates with. Now, according to a criminal complaint, the pair broke into cars and put cyanide and thallium in water bottles and hydrogen sulfide and Abrin in air vents. The Rock County victim says the poison put her in the hospital for 38 days. Now, in Dane County, Van Dyne is facing 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree intentional homicide. That has changed from 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide that he was originally charged with. Van Dyne is also facing 1 count of stalking. Now, Whitaker is also facing first-degree intentional homicide, 1 count of stalking, and additionally 1 count of harboring and aiding a felon. The pair are facing additional charges in Rock County. Now, also in court today, Whitaker's defense moved to lower her bond, currently set at $4 million in Dane County. The judge denied that request.
She was a student, otherwise law-abiding person. She has no prior failures to appear. We are asking that the court reduce her bail to $10,000.
She's being charged with conspiracy to commit the crime of first-degree intentional homicide. I think the court needs to take into consideration, 1, there's an incentive to flee simply based on the exposure of that. What she does possess is an extreme danger to the public.
Van Dyne also pleaded not guilty in Rock County last week. I tried to speak with his attorney after the court proceedings today. He told me they will not be commenting at this time. Reporting live at the Dane County Courthouse, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. And now let's get a check on the weather. A warm-up is on the way. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is here. How warm are we talking, Alex?
Oh, we're going to go up to 90 degrees by the end of the week. So get ready. The dog days of summer that occur in August, well, they are on the way. Temperatures staying at or above normal through the entire 10-day forecast. And it's going to be a muggy period, too, but more on the mugginess a little bit later. Our live Madison Mallard Skycam right now is part of the First One Weather Cam network here, still showing that milky white sky that we have out there. We still have some of that wildfire smoke across parts of the area, especially from Madison and areas off towards the north and towards the east. You see Madison up towards Columbia County, Green Lake, Marquette counties in that yellow and in that orange category. And we're going to see that smoke still kind of circulate across southern Wisconsin as we go through the rest of the night tonight. We're in the moderate to the unhealthy for some, so at least a little of an improvement there. But what that means is if you are susceptible to these conditions, it's still advised limit outdoor activities. If you want to bring those activities indoors, that's preferred by the Department of Natural Resources. All part of the three things you got to get out of the forecast tonight. Patchy fog and some smoke possible tonight lasting into Wednesday. Inching up with the temperature, and then the humidity is really going to crank up as we head towards the end of the week, along with storm chances. More on the humidity when you see me in a couple of minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. This weekend is the annual Ride the Drive event in Madison, and that means several road closures downtown. From 9 to 3 on Sunday, John Nolan Drive will be closed from Olin Avenue to Williamson Street. Willie Street closes from Blair over to Ingersoll. Cross traffic will be limited and detours will be posted. If you live on this route, they say move those cars by 8 or you risk being towed. The event invites people to bike, skate, or walk along a 2.3-mile stretch with 4 activity hubs. You can check channel3000.com. We have more details there.
Well, as a new school year quickly approaches, the Madison School District is expanding its alcohol and drug prevention program.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski reports on what it entails.
Beginning this fall, the Madison Metropolitan School District will begin work expanding its alcohol and drug prevention program. The expansion will come in the form of a new staff position, which will sit down and talk to students about the risks of substances so they're more informed. Leah Esser oversees the district's support services.
For some students, it's simply they made a choice socially and found themselves in a rough position.
She says the program expansion will help continue the decline of substance abuse that they've seen over the past decade. According to the Dane County Department of Human Services, in recent years, both alcohol and marijuana use have gone down since 2012.
It's our job to really build that foundation of education and prevention so that we're approaching our students based on the root cause of their use of substances and not the substance itself.
Funding for all of this will come from a grant awarded by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, providing $50,000 per school year over the next 2 years.
When students are using or abusing substances, we have an obligation to understand what's happening.
Esser goes on to say that she expects this position to be filled in mid-September. In Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
And as the school year approaches, doctors are sharing tips to help you get your kids ready for a new school year. On News 3 Now this morning, Kyrian Lee spoke with Dr. Rupa Shaw from SSM Health about how to lay the groundwork for a healthy, successful year. One key piece of advice: start establishing a consistent daily routine now, and to care not just for your child's physical well-being.
The biggest foundations really are still the things that most parents think about: nutrition, sleep. But in addition to that, we want to think about their emotional well-being. In this day and age of parenting, it's really important to kind of focus on the whole child, right? Mind and body.
And you can find Kyrian's entire interview with Dr. Shaw. It's posted right now on channel3000.com.
And tonight is National Night Out, an annual campaign that focuses on community building and fostering relationships between community partners, neighborhoods, and law enforcement. Tonight's festivities will include food, music, dancing, and community resources. The two events in Madison are United We Stand, Together We Thrive at Penn Park on Fisher Street, and the Back to School Backpack Giveaway and Block Party at the SSM Health South Campus on Fish Hatchery Road. Both events are going on from now until 7 this evening.
Well, the Packers are moving closer to their preseason opener Saturday night against the Jets at Lambeau Field.
Now, the biggest worry for any NFL coach in the preseason are those injuries, especially at a position where you are a little thin on depth. Our Channel 3000 Packers senior writer Jason Wilde has more now from Green Bay.
How you doing, everybody? It's Jason Wilde in Green Bay. When the Packers moved on from Jair Alexander in June, General Manager Brian Gutekunst said he felt really good about his top three corners: Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, and Carrington Valentine. Well, now there were two, as Nate Hobbs underwent surgery on Saturday to repair a torn meniscus, that the hope is the surgery was performed early enough and was minimally invasive enough that he'll be ready for the September 7th opener against the Detroit Lions right here on Channel 3. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. There are no guarantees, and Matt LaFleur would not give a timeline for Nate Hobbs' return. But this demonstrates the dangers in the NFL. When you feel like you have depth at a position, it can change quickly. And in the Packers' case, everyone behind Valentine, Hobbs, and Nixon is largely unproven. We'll have all the coverage of the Packers throughout training camp and throughout the regular season for free on channel3000.com. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our Packers newsletter so you can get the news of the day delivered to your inbox each day. That's it from here. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Jason, thank you. Now, the first of those Packers 3 preseason games, as we mentioned, against the Jets Saturday night, Lambeau Field, and that kickoff is set for 7 p.m.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is back next with a complete look at a warmer first warn forecast.
And we could all use a good laugh every now and then. How Comedy Week is bringing 80 comedians from all over the country right here to Madison. And red numbers across the board in Tuesday trading on Wall Street. The Dow losing 44 points, the NASDAQ down 137. S&P 500 loses almost 31. We'll be right back. Madison Comedy Week is back for its 8th year, transforming the city into a comedy hotspot, bringing laughter and entertainment to local venues. It's underway through Saturday with over 80 comedians from around the country. The annual festival promises an exciting lineup of more than 20 shows. Nina Davis, an assistant producer at Madison Comedy Week, says local comedians are telling the jokes of the next generation, and this week brings people together from a growing comedy journey.
Because stand-up comedy can be such an incredible and freeing art form. It's all about taking challenging things and making them lighter and easier to deal with. And I think especially now, that's a really cool art form.
And performers from our area and around the country will be performing throughout the week. For venues, lineups, and tickets, head to MadisonComedyWeek.com.
Well, we're pretty close now to not very far away from Halloween this year. Have you noticed the Halloween candy is already in the stores? It's only August, 5th? And very soon we'll see those Spirit Halloween stores take over. There will be 20 to be exact, with 7 including at the former Joann Fabrics, as the Spirit stores staff say they'll have costumes for every taste, age, and style. The stores coming to our area include the former American Freight in Janesville, along with the Madison East and West Joann Fabrics.
A community conversation on large-scale solar development is coming to Whitewater. The Wisconsin Farmers Union is hosting a public event Monday, August 18th. It'll be at the Whitewater Innovation Center. Refreshments start at 5. The program goes 5:30 to 7:30. Attendees will learn about land leases, energy agreements, and the impact of solar projects on local communities. Now, the goal here is to provide clear, unbiased information for farmers, landowners, and also residents. Now to our first one forecast. Get ready to check the muggy meter. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. And Alex, we're hoping that wildfire smoke has finally moved on out.
And it's the trade-off here, that wildfire smoke that's hanging out here right now as we get that hot, humid air to push in from the south and from the west. We're going to show that to you here with our Future Track wildfire smoke model. Then it gets replaced by warm and humid air, pushing that smoke off towards the north and towards the east. And by the time we get to the weekend, we're up into that very humid to the oppressive range again. But that's kind of par for course, though, for August, the dog days of summer. We are marching right into those right now. It's all part of the 3 things you need to know. That patchy fog, some smoke tonight, a little warmer. We're inching up that thermometer degree by degree each day this week. And by the end of the week, you just saw that humidity is going to crank up there with those storm chances also on the increase. I was showing this earlier. Our live Mallard Skycam as part of the First One Weather Cam network here shows that milky white sky still hanging out there in southern Wisconsin. That means we still have that smoke in the atmosphere, and it's in the moderate to unhealthy range for some until noon on Wednesday, especially for Madison and areas off towards the east. What this means is it's a bit of an improvement, but if you are susceptible to these conditions, it's still advised to take breaks if you have to go outside, and if you still want to be out of abundance of caution to stay indoors. windows shut, AC on, that's advisable. But at least we're moving away from that unhealthy range. Wildfire smoke here. This is our model here showing the greens and the yellows from Madison area to the east. So let's say along I-39, areas off towards the east. As we put this into motion, watch this plume of smoke just kind of swirl right across southern Wisconsin. And by the time we get to Wednesday at noon, it lifts to the north up towards parts of central Wisconsin. It goes to show you how fluid that smoke is moving around the area. And as we march forward into Thursday, the weather pattern turns from the south and from the west, pushing all of that smoke off towards the north and towards the east, or the majority of it. But then we replace that with the very warm and humid temperatures. We still have that air quality alert for areas along I-94, areas off towards the north and towards the east. So this would include Dodge County. This would include the communities of Juneau and Beaver Dam. But again, all of southern Wisconsin, we're still seeing some of that haziness out there. So don't let your guard down yet if you are susceptible to these conditions. Again, it's so tempting. You want to open up those windows with temperatures in the upper 50s to around 60 and highs in the low to mid 80s on Wednesday. And you might want to start to think about shutting the windows again because that humid stuff is on the way. Lows in the 70s, highs in the upper 80s to right around 90. And then we got thunderstorm chances increasing by the time we get to the weekend, going on out into early next week. Again, all these temperatures above normal clear through the next 10 days and marching all the way out into August. First, to let you know, nearing the end of August, conditions looking much above normal in terms of temperatures from the Climate Prediction Center, and we'll be right on the edge of a bubble of heat. We call that a ridge or the ring of fire. That means the chances are there as we go out from August 13th, going all the way out to August 19th, of keeping precipitation chances higher than normal across southern Wisconsin. And lastly, a viewer photo. Haven't done this in a while. This has been telling the story here the whole week with all of that PM 2.5, that smoke in the atmosphere, as the sun shines through that at sunrise and sunset. That's why we've been having these orange colors. Sue from Sauk City, thank you for sending us that photo. But the good news is, Susan and Eric, the smoke is out of here by the time we get a little bit later into Wednesday.
Well, that is good news. Thank you, Alex. After President Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we take a look at what exactly they do there and how important that data is to the economy. That's next at 5.
President Donald Trump claimed without evidence that the massive revisions in the latest jobs report constituted a, quote, scam.
He also accused one of the top overseers of government statistics of cooking the books in a vendetta against his presidency.
Ivan Rodriguez breaks down what the Bureau of Labor Statistics is and how the jobs report really works.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics is an independently operated body within the U.S. Labor Department. After President Trump said the latest job numbers were rigged, he fired the commissioner of the agency. He incorrectly claimed the commissioner had the biggest miscalculations in over 50 years, but the revisions BLS made to the recent report were neither unprecedented nor evidence of corruption. The Bureau of Labor Statistics collects data on a number of key economic concerns and produces critical reports on prices, inflation, and unemployment. The data is then used by businesses, investors, and government organizations like the U.S. Federal Reserve to make critical decisions. But Friday, President Donald Trump abruptly fired the commissioner of the BLS, Dr. Erica McIntarfer, accusing her of rigging the latest jobs report for political purposes. Former BLS Commissioner William Beach, nominated by Trump in his first term, says that's impossible.
The commissioner doesn't do anything to collect the numbers. What I think really upset the president on Friday were the revisions to May and June.
The BLS's initial monthly jobs estimates are often based on incomplete data, so they are revised twice after the initial report, followed by a preliminary annual revision in August and a final revision in February.
BLS is the finest statistical agency in the entire world. Its numbers are trusted all over the world.
The BLS collects jobs data in two separate surveys. The first is done in part with old-fashioned door knocking. A second survey is collected from thousands of businesses and government agencies via telephone, internet surveys, and for large corporations through an automated data transfer.
The president's attack on the commissioner and on the Bureau could undermine that trust over the long term.
McIntyre was confirmed by the Senate 86-8 in January of 2024 for a 4-year term. Trump and officials in both of his administrations have praised BLS data when it's been favorable to them. About a month ago, for example, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt posted on social media that the economy had beat expectations for jobs in 4 straight BLS labor reports. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
We'll get a final check on the weather when we come back.
It was a disaster more than 2 miles below the surface of the Atlantic. We'll have details from a new report by the Coast Guard on what led to the loss of a mini-sub on that expedition to the Titanic. And can artificial intelligence provide companionship for the lonely? How AI is being used to keep company with older Americans. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Coming up at 6, a woman involved in the Slender Man stabbing 11 years ago will be moving to a facility in Sun Prairie. We'll talk with some locals about how they feel about that and Sun Prairie police about the reason for the change.
Well, today, August 5th, will be just a bit shorter than usual by 1.34 milliseconds. For those of you counting, you won't notice, but the Earth is spinning a tiny bit faster, likely thanks to changes deep in its core and also in the atmosphere. It's happened before. July 10th was even shorter, and last year's record holder was July 5th, clocking in 1.66 milliseconds under 24 hours. I noticed that day was a little shorter. It may sound small, but over time, these micro moments could mess with GPS, computers, and other tech that depends on perfect timing, but not our weather computers, which are always accurate and never flawed. Alex is here with the final check of the forecast.
Biggest thing is let's get this wildfire smoke out of here, but it comes with a price. We're going to have that hot, humid stuff that's going to push in from the south and from the west, but moderate to unhealthy for some conditions through at least noon on Wednesday. Lows tonight around 60. We'll do 80s for highs on Wednesday, and then here comes the steamy stuff. Dog days of summer, as some call it. Lows in the 70s by day, highs in the 80s to near 90 by day. And we got those storm chances Sunday, Monday going on into Tuesday of next week, and then still staying warm a little bit later going out into next week. In terms of the best chance of rain, right now it looks like it's probably going to be Sunday night going into Monday.
All right, good to know. Thanks, Alex.
And thanks for watching News 3 Now at 5. Coming up next, the CBS Evening News, and we'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.
You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a good evening, everybody. See you at 6.